What if the single most powerful thing you could do for your inflammation, your metabolism, and your long-term health was also the simplest? No complicated protocols, no expensive supplements, just a return to the kind of eating that has kept people healthy for thousands of years. One of the most consistent patterns I've noticed among the world's healthiest, longest living people is this. They live simply. Take people from traditional Greek culture, for example. They start their morning with a small cup of coffee, maybe a piece of fruit, and a tiny portion of Greek yogurt topped with crushed pistachios. That is it. No drive-through, no ultra-processed breakfast sandwich, no sugar-loaded flavored coffee with a mountain of whipped cream. Just clean, simple food in modest amounts. And when I adopted that same approach myself, I felt dramatically better. More energy, less brain fog, and a body that was not constantly fighting to process what I had just put into it. I grew up the same way most of you probably did. Big breakfasts felt like a celebration. The fancier and more loaded, the better. But the truth is, simplicity has always made me feel better, and the science backs that up completely. Let me start with coffee, because this is one I am passionate about. In my view, coffee is part of what I call the holy trinity of beverages: water, tea, and coffee, across virtually every area of health research. Cancer prevention, diabetes management, cardiovascular health, longevity, fitness, coffee consistently shows up as beneficial. Now, I was taught in medical school to be cautious about coffee. The concern was caffeine, arrhythmias, cardiovascular strain, and yes, caffeine requires some respect, especially if you are sensitive to it. But what most people overlook are the polyphenols inside coffee, specifically a compound called chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid is found in coffee from its origins in Ethiopia all the way through to the strong traditional preparations you find in Greek and Turkish coffee culture. And what chlorogenic acid does inside your body is remarkable. It supports healthy metabolism, protects your blood vessels, reduces inflammation, and consistently tips the odds in favor of a longer, healthier life. One simple cup in the morning is doing far more for you than most people realize. Now let us talk about another food that is hiding extraordinary power in plain sight: oats. Not the sugary, flavored instant packets, I mean whole oats, the kind your grandmother would have recognized. I have spent considerable time researching the bioactive compounds inside oats, and we have even presented this work at medical conferences. What we found genuinely surprised us. Oats contain two particularly potent bioactive compounds. The first is called Avinanthramide. The second is beta-glucan, which you also find in mushrooms and barley. Both are powerful anti-inflammatory agents. But I did not want to just talk about inflammation in theory. As a scientist, I needed to see it for myself. So we collaborated with a team at the University of Arizona and designed a rigorous study using a standard wound healing model. Wound healing matters enormously in medicine. Chronic wounds devastate people with diabetes, patients in nursing homes, and critically ill patients in intensive care units. It is an area I have worked in throughout my career, and it remains one of my deepest passions. Here is what happened when we injected oat bioactive extracts directly into the borders of wounds in our lab. The rate of healing doubled. The wounds closed significantly faster than any control. That alone was striking. But when we examined the healed tissue under a microscope, what we found was extraordinary. First, inflammation was completely suppressed. Second, the tissue had grown new, healthy blood vessels, a process called angiogenesis, which is my area of specialty. Blood vessels are the delivery system of healing. The fact that oat bioactives were actively stimulating their growth told us something profound. Third, and this was the result that stopped all of us in our tracks, the healed wounds were scarless. Scarless healing is considered a holy grail in medicine. Pharmaceutical companies, device companies, and surgeons have been chasing it for decades. And here it was, coming from a bowl of oatmeal. When we examined the collagen in the healed tissue, it was woven in a perfect, organized pattern, exactly the way healthy tissue should look. No scar, no disorganized fibers, just clean, structured, beautifully healed tissue with robust blood supply and zero inflammation. And beyond that, the oat bioactives were recruiting the body's own stem cells to assist in repair. This is what food as medicine actually looks like. Not a marketing slogan, a measurable, peer-reviewed scientific reality. Now, here is the flip side of that conversation. Because just as there are things we can eat and drink that raise our body's defenses, there are things that silently dismantle them. And some of the most damaging are the ones we encounter every single day without thinking twice. Excess sodium is one of the biggest offenders. Salt makes food taste incredible, and our brains are wired to crave it. Restaurant kitchens rely on it heavily. You would be amazed how much salt goes into the average restaurant meal, but chronically high sodium does something serious inside your body. It accelerates cellular aging. It puts enormous strain on your blood vessels and your circulatory system. It specifically undermines the angiogenesis system, the very system that grows and maintains the blood vessels your tissues depend on. You are essentially aging yourself faster with every shaker of salt beyond what your body needs. Sleep is another area that people chronically underestimate. While you sleep, your body does something remarkable. Your insulin levels drop because you are not eating, and your metabolism shifts into a fat-burning mode. Think of your body like a high-performance sports car. During the day, you are in drive, burning fuel, building speed, accumulating energy. At night, you shift into a different gear entirely. Your engine turns its attention to burning down stored fuel. That means a full night of deep sleep is actually a fat-burning session. Cut that sleep short night after night, and the fat that should have been metabolized just stays. It accumulates. 1 or 2 nights of poor sleep, you recover. Jet lag happens. You catch up and move on. But chronic sleep deprivation is an entirely different story. Add persistent stress to the equation, and now you have the double hit of elevated cortisol and disrupted sleep. Add alcohol, which fragments sleep architecture even when it seems to help you fall asleep, and you have a metabolic environment that is consistently accumulating fat, clouding the brain, and stoking inflammation. This is not speculation. It is a predictable cascade, and it ends in vulnerability to the very diseases we all want to avoid. One of the cultures I return to most often when discussing longevity is Japanese culture. Japan consistently produces some of the world's oldest, healthiest people. Before we talk about what they eat, let us talk about what they do not do. They do not overeat. I want to give that statement the weight it deserves. Caloric overload, eating more than your body needs consistently, year after year, is profoundly damaging to the metabolism. It accelerates cellular aging. It sets the stage for chronic inflammation, and it directly shortens life. The Japanese culinary tradition is built on modesty, smaller portions. Eating until you are satisfied, not stuffed. That restraint is not deprivation. It is one of the most powerful longevity tools in existence. Let me also address something that causes a lot of confusion: the difference between processed and ultra-processed food. We rarely eat truly raw, unmodified ingredients. A salad or a fruit plate might be the closest most of us get. Everything else, whether it is Chinese food, Italian food, Indian food, homemade pasta, involves preparation. Grandma rolling out fresh pasta dough from flour and eggs, the way it has been done in Italy for centuries, is technically processing food. But that is not what we need to worry about. Ultra-processed food is something entirely different. It is manufactured in factories by machines that extrude raw materials into shapes and textures that would never occur in nature. Think of a perfectly uniform animal cracker, and then chemically modified with emulsifiers, preservatives, artificial colors, artificial flavors, and added sugars. All of it is listed on the ingredient label. All of it is hiding in plain sight. And all of it is engineered not just for shelf life and convenience, but specifically to override your natural hunger signals and make you crave more. We were not born craving these things. We were conditioned to reach for them by a food environment designed to profit from that conditioning. Here is the good news, and I want you to hold on to this. It is never too late to come back to yourself. When I talk to people who have spent decades not paying attention to their health and now feel exhausted, inflamed, overweight, and overwhelmed, the message I always give them is this: your body already knows how to be healthy. That capacity is hardwired into you. Your metabolism knows how to burn fat. Your immune system knows how to fight. Your joints, your brain, your blood vessels, they all know exactly what to do when you give them what they need and stop flooding them with what they do not. Think of your body like a brand new laptop right out of the box. The operating system is perfect. It is designed to run flawlessly. But over the years, you drop it, you overheat it, you download viruses, you neglect the maintenance. Eventually, it runs slowly, crashes often, and feels unreliable. Does that mean it is broken forever? No. It means you need to go back to basics, clean it up, return to the original operating system. Strip away what does not belong and let the hardware do what it was built to do. That is exactly what your body is waiting for. Start with 1 simple cup of coffee in the morning. Add a bowl of whole oats. Cut back on sodium. Protect your sleep like it is the most valuable health investment you have, because it is. Eat modestly, choose food that looks like food, and trust that the biology inside you is already on your side. Give it the right environment, and it will do the rest.